So I wanted to show you how nice and thick this is. This has already been thoroughly stirred. See that? She's thick. I'm pretty happy with that consistency, and I think I can work with that. So we're gonna give it a try. We're gonna mix up some paints and try some blooms. Hold tight. Okay, so it is experiment time today, and I've got some cups out. I think I've got everything I need to do this. Get my Josanya ready. So today I am testing a new pouring medium for US based bloomers, and it is Sherwin Williams HGTV Home Spec Right interior paint. This is base C, as you can see right there, and it is semi-gloss, as you can see right there. So I'm going to, and I waited to put it in the cups until I was on camera so you could see the consistency of this pouring medium. I'm very happy with it, and I'm just going to adjust my camera a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing. Bear with me. Here we go. That should be good. Let's test it out. So, got a cup, and I'm going to put a scoop right in that cup. I'm not going to mix up a ton of this. Just one scoop per cup. And I do have one pigment, so I will be dispersing that first before I add the pouring medium. Now, one thing I am noticing right away, I don't know if it's my studio light. I don't think that's the case, but this has what I would call a pearlescent sheen to it that I didn't notice in any other light that I've looked at it. So that's kind of interesting. So you saw how thick this was, and let me disperse this and do a better job at paying attention to what I'm doing so you can see me pour it in the cup. I'm not sure if I got that well or not. So this is just Pearl X red russet. I'm using a inexpensive pigment, but one that I love, just so I'm not wasting my more expensive TLP pigments. So just a tiny little bit of Josanya gloss. Now, initially, I am not going to add the Josanya gloss to the colors, the two colors that I mix up, because I want to see if it's needed. If I have to thin it, I'm going to thin it a little bit with just distilled water. I don't want to add too many factors that could play a role in how well it's working. So I want to start without it in the tube paints, and then I'll add it if I feel it will help. So that's thoroughly dispersed. And get my stick out of the way. So I want to make sure you can see me pour this in. See how nice and thick that is? That is a lot thicker than anything I'm currently working with, except for the original Behr 8300, which I do have some of, and I still think this is thicker. So let's mix, 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 and see what happens to our pigment. See if the shine comes up or if it stays dull. This has no primer in it, so there's no reason to think that it would dull any of the colors or pigments. But I'll tell you what I'm seeing, and you probably can see this too. This is definitely not as shiny and vibrant as I expected. let me show you for comparison. Let's see if I can find the color. I think this is it. Yep, this is the color mixed with Bear and Josanya. See how vibrant that is? And side by side, this one I just mixed is not vibrant like that. So that concerns me. And how it dries matters more than what it looks like. And sometimes, I would imagine you've experienced this too, it takes a minute or two for pigments to bloom or to for the color to come up in a house paint pouring medium. So we're going to leave that sit and see what we get. So I'm going to mix up my two paints, and I'll do one on camera and then I'll do the other two off camera. I've got Amsterdam Primary Magenta that I'm mixing up, and I don't need very much because I don't have much pouring medium. Whoa, probably that is too much. When it goes, it goes. Okay, let's see what happens to this. It's light. It did lighten this. The consistency is super thick, so I am going to have to thin these, obviously. So I'm going to pause the camera, mix up these other two colors, and then I will bring you back in and we'll see how they did, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I have them all mixed up and thinned, and it's probably been 5 to 10 minutes at most. I did not thin the pigment, and as you can see, the color has not bloomed. It's still quite dull and does not appeal to me at all. So I did a Naples yellow. Now I haven't thinned these all the way down to a thin bloom color. I left these these will drizzle a little, but they're still on the thick side. Then this was Liquitex Bronze, and this is really milky, looks like cappuccino. So not good initially. I'm not discounting it yet, so we'll do a tile, we'll do a bloom, and we'll see how it goes. And this is the magenta. So I'm going to give it a whirl. I did put some on glass. This is the plain paint, untinted. This is the bronze. This is red russet, Naples yellow, and primary magenta. So I'm going to set these aside and let them dry. I will let the bloom dry, and then we'll come back and see where we are at. So let's get this stuff out of here. I put the black silicone mat down just so that you're not distracted by all the other color stuff going on and my tape line and all of that. All right, so let's get a ring down and a tile. And I think I'm going to tip you in just a little bit more again so you can see the behavior of the bloom and how this paint is. There we go. That should be good. And I'm just going to use PPG white for my pillow. All right, let's get a little bit of pillow down. And I believe I will just use my basic black cell activator, just because I know that that works perfectly. It dries perfectly, so we know that that cell activator is not a negative factor here. I'm going to put the Naples yellow on the bottom because it's an opaque, and I don't think anything else is opaque. I'm pretty sure the bronze is at least semi-transparent. Take a peek really quick. Oh, now the bronze is opaque. So I'm going to put a good amount of the red russet down and just a drizzle of the bronze on top of it. Weird that I didn't realize that. And then I guess we're going to put the primary magenta on top. All right, we're going to give it a try. I had planned on doing a few different techniques here with this experiment, but now I just want to see how it behaves in a bloom and how it dries before I move forward, because this may be a no-go. Good cell action. Just spread this out so it goes out evenly when I spin it. We don't really care much about the composition or any of that stuff. We're looking for color, cell reaction, any melting or warping of the cells, anything indicative of a bad pouring medium. All right, I'm going to spin it because I've got a ton of cells. They're itty bitty, and they don't look like cells normally look when you blow into your cell activator. So I may need the Josanya for this to work. Interesting. Probably the paints are too thick. Probably, maybe. That's what little tiny cells means. Okay, so this is what I got initially. And it's very tight and spotty. It doesn't look like typical bloom cells at all. I've got a little area here and here that look okay, but they're still not quite there. So I think, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and add the Josanya and do another tile. I'm going to pause you, and I'll bring you back when I'm ready. So I added about a teaspoon of Josanya gloss varnish to each of the cups, and maybe a little bit less to the pigment because I did disperse that in the Josanya. Sorry, I got distracted. I have an incoming phone call, and I really need to take it, but I can't take it right now, so I'm not going to. I will call them back. Okay. So I'm going to do the same layering. And as you can see, the bloom paints are significantly thinner. Much closer to what you would want for consistency for doing a regular bloom. All right, let's give it another go. Okay, that is better. I will say that right away. That is better. I definitely got more of a bloom cell activator type of reaction that I was hoping for. So you definitely need the Josanya gloss varnish in this mixture if you decide to use it. So my cell development is really, really good here. I don't have any gloves out. Let me grab a pair really quick because I want to pick this up and bring it up to the camera so that you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the initial blow. And you can absolutely see the correct type of cells. So let's give this one a spin out and see what it does. Yeah, it definitely moved better. There are a lot of bubbles on here, but that's okay. That's not the point of this experiment. We're not trying to get a pretty bloom, we're trying to get a correct bloom. Gosh, I wish I hadn't blown into the pillow there because I have this white interfering with everything, which is distracting. However, take a look at those cells. No melting. No misshapen cells. I mean, they're really good. They're really good. They're really tight in the center, but I might have blown a little hard there. I'm going to spin it one more time, which will be a little bit of an overspin to see if the cells will warp. This helps me to figure out how stable my bloom pouring medium is whether I can overspin it and still maintain cell structure, and I did. Okay, that's really good. That's really, really a good thing. So let me bring this to you. See that cell structure? It's really good. So I have a lot of thoughts on this that I will share with you ultimately by the end of the video. First thing I will say is that this base reminds me a whole lot of Behr 3300, and if you have used Behr 3300, you know what I'm talking about. Now, August Leroy, he uses, or used to use 65% Varathane Triple Thick to 35% Behr 3300 untinted. And then he just, I just caught a post that he commented on where he said he flipped that to 35% Varathane Triple Thick to 65% Behr 3300 untinted, and he is liking it. So this result reminds me of that mixture, the 35% to 65%, the the house paint being the larger portion. Yeah, it definitely reminds me a lot of that. I do want to show you something that's happening with the first bloom with the poor cell structure. And that may happen with this after it sits for a few minutes. Or in less bright, obnoxious light. That may change as I pull it into the light. No, it isn't. So look how dark that got. Those colors deepened sitting. Literally just sitting. So I'm curious to see what happens to the one that I did after I added the Josanya gloss varnish. So I'm going to wrap this right now and let these dry, let my samples dry, and then we'll come back in and talk about it some more. And I'll let you know what I think, how I think it works, and how it dries. I'll show you all of that, give you some nice close-ups of the dried results on everything. And then we'll take it from there. We'll figure out if this product is something that we can work with. So I will be back shortly. All right, I am back for the final segment of this experiment and product review. Sorry about that. Had to go grab my apron again. So what you're looking at right now are the dried tiles that I did in the previous segment. And quite honestly, I don't think much changed. The pigment certainly did not come back up and dry brighter. And the colors really didn't deepen perceptibly. I mean, maybe just a tiny bit, but not much. So I'm going to give you a close-up of the first tile that I did, and this one was before the addition of Josanya gloss varnish with a little pinhole type cells. And then this is the one that had the really great cell structure, nice and solid, and still, yeah, it's not something I would want. It's not what I would want my work to look like. So, I just did this bloom here, and I'm going to talk about that real quick, and then move right on to my final verdict. So, I mixed up the same colors, but this time I used the Spec Right 65% Spec Right untinted base to 35% varathane triple thick polyurethane. So that's the recipe that August Leroy uses with Behr 3300. So that being said, I did still have some Behr 3300 untinted deep base, so I did a comparison swatch. So this is the Spec Right, and this is the Behr 3300. Now this isn't completely dry because I just put this on the glass a couple hours ago. But you can, I don't know if you can really see that. The Behr 3300 is a thinner paint, thinner consistency. However, it's whiter and it is clearer. This, I thought, it was very yellowy and could impact some of your paler colors, your cooler colors in a not so great way. So these here, these swatches are the original colors. So this is the red russet pigment, and that did not dry shiny at all. This is the red russet with my regular 8300 and Josanya mixture. And I don't know how well you're able to see what I see, but I'm trying. This is the Liquitex Bronze. This is the Amsterdam Primary Magenta, and this is the Grumbacher Yellow. oh my God, Naphthol Yellow, I think. I can't remember. Anywho, they really didn't dry that nice. I mean, those are definitely not a sheen that I would enjoy in my painting, because sometimes I don't resin things. Sometimes I do larger canvases that I varnish instead, and I don't want my paints dulled. I pay too much money for paint to have it altered by my pouring medium. So anyhow, this is the result of those same colors mixed with the Varathane Spec Right combination. And as you can see, they're still pretty dull. They did come up a little bit brighter, a little bit clearer, and they may dry different, but I'm not going to bother with that. This was the yellow. The pigment did come up quite a bit. You can actually see the deep red shimmer in it. I know you can't on camera, but it's there. And then this is the primary magenta. So this came up a lot as well, color in that. So I blew out a bloom. I layered this a little bit different. This is the second attempt. First attempt, I blew through one whole edge of the pillow, and then I did it again. It's something about that mixture that makes it super easy. And I blew really gentle and went right into the pillow anyways. So that being said, I did still get great cell structure. The colors are brighter and a little bit more visually appealing, but still not what I'm used to, what I prefer. So cumulatively, with all of these tests and all of these experiments, I'm not going to take it any further. I'm not going to try to mix different things in. It just gets so complicated beyond this point, and I don't think it's worth it. I think we already can surmise that the Spec Right is just too, it's too opaque. It's got something in it that supposedly isn't primer, but it's got something in it that is not clear, and it doesn't dry clear, and it's very yellow. So with that being said, I'm going to give my opinion. I say don't bother with it. If you bought some, bring it back. Even if you've used a little bit out of the can, bring it back. Just, you don't have to say anything. Lowe's is really good with returns like that. The only instance where I think that there is a possibility that we could use Spec Right is if they come out with a deeper base, an ultra deep base, like a base D, without that milky cloudiness to it. And I will keep my eye open, and I frequently work in the paint department, so it's likely I'll see it if it comes up in the next few months. Anyways, I won't forget about it. I always look at paint, and I'm always looking for new things. So with that being said, these paints are getting dumped. I'm not going to use them in any of my serious blooms. I'm done with those. These tiles will get soaked. I'm saying no to this particular product, and I think you should say no to. If you're currently using Behr 3300 mixed with Varathane and you're happy with that, keep using that until somebody comes up with another recipe, another pouring medium house paint, something to help us all out. I, of course, will continue with my journey, trying to find something. I'm always kind of wandering around looking at different things, visiting different outlets for paint that we don't normally go to, that are kind of off our radar. So that's a wrap. I mean, I don't have anything else to say. I don't really, I'm disappointed tremendously. And I'll just say that because the cell structure was so foolproof and beautiful with the Spec Right. And I mean, if you want to go ahead and use it, go for it. But I never will. I will not use this particular product unless they come out with an ultra deep base that is clearer. So that is that. And I hope this was helpful for you. And I hope that together we can kind of figure this out and come up with something that isn't $70, $80 a can that works for everybody. So until next time, you guys have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.